My name is Alberto Hernandez in Spanish, okay. I was born in Mexico City, and then I went to the United States when I was 21, and I worked in a company for many years, 21 years, and was a blue-collar worker. And at the same time, I had time to study dance extensively. I train in martial arts and yoga and some other techniques, certified Pilates instructor. And also, the most important training that I received was in meditation, plain sitting meditation practice with eyes open with my teacher, Mei Chen. And it was through her practice that I became very inspired to share more with larger audience and about the wonderful experience that I had as I was learning to quiet my mind and to experience real love within myself. The triggering point, that was when I was a teenager, because I was born into a family of energy healers, and at the same time, I was not gifted with psychic ability, and I was seeing people that they were talking about things that they were seeing, and I said, I don't see anything, and they start talking to me about God and praying to God, but I said, what are we praying? I don't see anything, so I became quite skeptical in some of the practices, and so I was challenging with a critical mind the establishment into which I was born and raised. And it wasn't until when I met Mei Chen, she started changing everything around. Prior to being in her class, I studied neuro-linguistic programming. I studied hypnosis to understand the mind, how it works, and then I had wonderful experiences, how to walk on hot coals, how to walk on broken glass, and I didn't get injured. And at the same time, there were times that I was teaching that for a while. And just a few times I taught it in Mexico. It was wonderful, but I was, okay, you do a fire walk, and then what? Nothing. Okay, same thing, you walk on broken glass, and then what? What is the purpose of it? No, nothing. So when I came to Mei Chen, to my teacher, she started guiding me into the real understanding of the importance of really quieting the mind, taking away all the drama. And through her guidance, I learned to quiet my mind for long periods of time, until there were sometimes over an hour, my mind was completely blank. And at the very beginning, I concentrated just a few minutes, and then at that came into my mind, and at that point I started feeling some tensions in my body. May might have her eyes closed, but at the precise moment that a thought crossed my mind, she used to tell me, stay here, stay focused, don't go away. So little by little I started discovering that she had a great ability to see energetically. And there was a point that I find out how high was her awareness when it came to read people. I have never met a single clairvoyant or psychic to the level that she was. Meaning that she knew what you did last night. She knew what you were going through in your life. She could tell about things that your family were doing this precise moment in another country. It was quite an amazing experience to be in someone with that kind of ability. But she never did that for money, nor to impress people. The only reason when sometimes she brought this up is just to show you the potential that we have when we surrender and we enter into really loving yourself. Because that is the key of everything. When I came to her, I didn't say anything about my family. And then one day, after this third or fourth time that I was coming to her meditation class, she said to me, She said, you need to stay away from tradition. And I said to her, well, what do you mean? She said, yes, your family in Mexico. They think they're doing something right, but in reality, they live in a world of ignorance. And I said, no, my family, they help the sick and they do it for free. They don't charge money. People come to my mom's house and they get a healing, and then people assist them there. They channel spirits in the light, and they always help the sick. They assist people in their growth, and I witnessed many healings happening there. She said, yes, but the thing is this, everything is God. Does God need a healing? Does God need to be fat? She said, they're always fighting good and evil. She said, stay away from that. Everything is one. Nothing needs to be healed, nothing needs to be fat. So I learned through her guidance that yes, we do not need to protect yourself from anything when it comes to this area of energy healing. Once you start focusing on experiencing love in your heart, that is the key. That's what Jesus taught, that's what the Buddha taught. And through my guidance, I started learning that. So my family at first, they quite didn't understand this, and you go and you see my family, majority, they still keep into this practice. And every time I go, I teach them a different way, and I guide them into a process and to understanding. And again, this is always a personal choice. It's always about free will. I cannot say what you're doing is wrong. Okay, they need to come to the point that they can accept it themselves. I started doing this workshop that now I teach here in Europe. I started doing it in California, in Irvine, 5 years ago. I exited my former job, and after 2-3 months, the opportunity came to start sharing with a couple of students. And it was just something very informal. And little by little, they started developing into what it is right now. And I train extensively in dance, so my body, I prepare it in technique. And through dance, I learned to move my body with minimum effort, using my bones as the main focus when I move. And in many classes that I train, they never emphasize on the use of the bones. But I had a very amazing teacher. His name is Stefan Wenta. He still teaches in LA. And one day he guided me to do a simple passe on elevate. That means like on the ball of the foot, at the bar. And then as I was trying to hold my balance, my teacher, he started guiding me. He said, correct this. Lower your hip, soften your ribs, bring them in, your shoulders, correct this. He gave me over 20 corrections. And after that, he said, okay, now let go of the bar. And as I let go of the bar, I was in perfect balance. My head was properly placed, my rib was properly placed, all my bones were in perfect placement. And at that point, I realized that there was no tension in my body at the same time. I was being held in space with minimum effort, and that made an impact in my practice.